This video will show you how to replace the transmission speed sensor on a Cadillac CTS. This will be located inside of the transmission. You will have to remove your transmission pan. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Safely make your way under the vehicle. We're looking for our transmission pan. One thing I would note is we never want to do anything with this when the vehicle is hot. The pan could be hot and the fluid might be hot. Now with that said, once you find the transmission pan, we're along the driver's side of the transmission and we're looking for our fill plug. We're going to remove that first. A quick note about doing this job, you will want to have a brand new transmission gasket and filter. Of course, we have hand and eye protection at all times, and we have a collection receptacle under this area. Looking at this fill plug, we're going to have to use a T45 Torx bit to remove this. Keep in mind, fluid may come out of this area when you do open this. Now that I have that fill plug out of position, just a quick inspection of that. We'll continue on to the drain plug next. Of course, we have our collection receptacle under here as well. Now we'll just let this fully drain prior to continuing on. Now looking closely at the side of my transmission where I had removed my fill plug from, I can see that my gasket that's supposed to be attached to the plug is actually attached to my transmission housing. So I'm just going to pull that out of place. I'm using a small pocket screwdriver. Just a quick inspection of our seal. It is typically a good idea to replace these. We'll just slide this directly onto our plug. Press it on. That looks good. Now we will be removing the pan. I've removed as much fluid from this as possible. I'm going to continue on with my drain plug. We'll start it in, snug that up. Now I'm going to torque this to 15 foot-pounds. And we'll clean the area. Continuing on, looking all the way around the transmission pan, you're going to find that you have 20 10mm headed mounting bolts going all the way around, holding the pan in place. I like to leave one bolt on either side for last. Now at this point, I have one bolt on each side of my transmission pan. I'll be holding onto the transmission pan as I remove these. These are the last things holding the pan in place. I've got the other side here. Now you may find that the pan is stuck in place, and that's typically due to the gasket. You could carefully tap on the pan using a rubber mallet, or you could gently pry it out of place. Just be careful not to cause any damage to the transmission pan or the housing. Let's bring this down. We still have some fluid in the area. We'll empty this out. We will have to clean this. We'll set it aside for now. Now with that pan out of the way, looking along the back side of the transmission housing, we can see our transmission speed sensor. We'll start with the electrical connector. As far as this electrical connector, it does have a locking tab. You can use your finger for this. We'll pull down and slide this out of position. There we are. Just a quick inspection of that electrical connector. We can set that aside. The sensor is held in place with one 10mm headed mounting bolt. Let's remove that and the sensor. As far as the sensor, you should be able to take hold of it, give it a little twist, and slide it out of place. There it is, friend. Now, prior to installation of our vehicle speed sensor, the next thing we have to do is clean and inspect our mounting point. For this, I'm just using a clean rag, no detergents. We are not spraying any type of solvent inside of the transmission. Just a quick wipe there. Make sure there's no miscellaneous debris. This looks good, so let's continue on with the installation of our vehicle speed sensor. Now, when we go to slide this into position, we'll make sure the sensor slides up into the corresponding port, align the mounting bolt port as well, start in that bolt, snug it up, torque it to 8 foot-pounds. And my torque wrench. Double check to make sure that's secured. It should not move around in any way. Continue on with your electrical connector next. As far as that connector, we're going to line it up. We'll press it in, listen for a click. After an audible click, make sure it is secured in place. You do not want this coming apart while you're driving down the road. Now, since whenever I do this type of sensor, I like to replace my filter and my gasket at the same time, it's time to remove that filter. As far as the filter, looking along the front, you can see where the tube goes up into the transmission. Along the backside, you will have one locating tab. There really isn't too much to pay attention to on the rearward side, but on the front side, as we pull this down, you might find that fluid makes its way out. Wiggling as I pull it down. We'll let that filter empty into our collection receptacle. Now we're going to clean and inspect this circular port. Now that I have the filter out of place, this part's extremely important. We need to look up inside the port. It's common to have one of the pre-existing gaskets from the original filter stuck in the port. If it is stuck in there, it must be removed. For this, I'm just using an angled pick. When I do remove this, I want to be extremely careful not to cause any damage to my transmission housing. Just going to grab onto a certain area on this, slide it down and out of there. There's our seal. Just a quick inspection of this. We will set it aside for disposal. And now we'll clean inside the port. We're only using a clean rag, no detergents inside of this transmission. A thorough inspection confirming there's nothing inside of this port. Now it's time for the brand new filter. The first thing we want to do is make sure we have our gaskets and spacer in place. As we align this with the corresponding port, we want to make sure that this filter is facing straight rearward. While holding it in this position, we want to gently tap in this area here, driving it into the fully seated position, and then double check to make sure it's secured. It should not fall out of place. Just a couple light taps there. I can see that my white spacer is up against my transmission housing. The filter does not fall down and out of place. There's a couple things we need to do before we install our transmission pan. We're looking along the housing of the transmission itself, where the transmission pan and gasket would be. We need to clean and inspect this area. Go ahead and carefully scrape it down. For this, I like to use a flat blade razor. We're just going to go all the way around this, confirming we remove as much miscellaneous debris as possible. After you scrape it down, let's just go ahead and wipe it down. I'm using a clean rag. Make my way all the way around. Let's have a close look at our transmission pan next. Looking along the transmission pan, we're going to remove our original transmission pan gasket, and I'm going to be replacing it with a brand new one. Just find an area to make my way under. We'll set that aside for disposal. Now I have my razor. Now the next thing we're going to do is clean down the entire pan. We're going to be cleaning along the edge where we just finished cleaning, but we also want to clean on the inside area here. When cleaning on the inside, see this black square area here? That's a magnet. We need to make sure we clean that down as well. Let's go ahead and spray this down. Now, once you feel as though you have this cleaned down well enough, let's continue on to preparing to install our gasket. So we're just taking our gasket, we're aligning it so each one of our mounting bolt ports are aligned in the proper placement, and now we can bring this up towards the transmission and start in all pieces of hardware. So I'm just starting one of my bolts through my gasket and my pan. I'm going to start bringing it up into position here. We'll get one side started in, and then I'm going over to the other side, and I'm going to repeat this exact same process. We want to make sure the gasket is staying aligned in the proper placement and not hanging outward or inward. Okay, that's those two. Now I'm going to do one along the front and one along the rear, and then we'll continue on with all others. Like I said, we want to make sure we can see the gasket in the proper place. You can use a small pick if necessary. There's that one. Okay, I'm just going to double check, make sure I can feel the gasket. It has not fallen inward or outward, so now I'm going to the rearward side. I'm going to do the same thing. Now at this point, we should be able to install all other mounting bolts. Just pay attention to that gasket. Now we're going to snug and torque each one of our mounting bolts. There's 20 of these, and we're torquing them to 8 foot-pounds. First, I'll just go around snugging them. Okay, they're all bottomed out. Now let's go around and torque them 8 foot-pounds. Perfect. Go ahead and clean up any mess around the transmission pan, and let's get ready to fill this transmission. Now the next thing we have to do is fill the transmission fluid. There's several different ways of doing it. You can use something that's small like this, filled with the manufacturer's specified fluid. You would just make your way in along the side, go into that port, and add your transmission fluid. Now typically for this, you're going to start with approximately 5 quarts of the manufacturer's specified transmission fluid. Once you start seeing a steady trickle of fluid making its way down and out of here, we're going to be installing the fill plug temporarily. So I have my fluid device. I'm going inside of my port. Of course, I have a collection receptacle under here. Once the fluid starts coming out, we'll add our plug. Now that I have this temporarily in place, let's make our way out from under the vehicle. You're going to have to run the vehicle and get it up to normal operating temperature, in between 86 and 122 degrees. While we're getting it up to temperature, we want to make sure we have our foot on the brake pedal. We're going to run our gear selector through each one of the gears, taking our time, spending approximately 3 seconds in each gear, making our way all the way down to one end on the gear selector, and then all the way back up into park. After you've completed that, stopping at each selection for approximately 3 seconds, repeat this process approximately 3 times. We're trying to get fluid inside of the entire transmission. After that, and you're at the normal operating temperature, you're making your way back under here to our fill plug. We're leaving the vehicle running and you're going to check the fluid level. Typically, you will have to top this off with approximately 1 more quart of transmission fluid. Fill it until you see a steady trickle of fluid coming out of the fill plug, and then we're going to snug this up and torque it. And the torque for that is 15 foot-pounds. Let's get our socket on here. There we are. Now after you've topped it off, of course you want to make sure you clean everything down so you can double check for leaks. Of course your exhaust may be hot. Be careful when spraying solvents. We've already torqued the drain plug. This looks good. Okay, the next thing you want to do is take your vehicle for a road test. You're going to double check for leaks and of course confirm that the speed sensor functions as it should. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.